About the mess, yeah, we can't even talk. I know, it's just, I know that.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, nice to see you.
My really old friend Kelly Baker Hamilton, and you've met her a long time ago. This is Kelly. I thought when I was Kelly Baker, I was like, Kelly Oh, yeah. Oh, you're not a hungry either. I can feel it. I didn't embrace you. Are you not? No, I'm not, but I've been getting better, so I was doing okay. And now that I met Julie, I was like, this is not who I am, what I've been doing here. I'm like, I'm not being true to myself when I talk about it. Because that felt right. That felt right. That awkward.
See, this seems like a hug.
She's like me and Julie, yeah.
Did you know? I'm not going to trip the baby.
Where are you going? She doesn't hear this. Whoa, that's crazy.
Right. Not yet, but they're almost there. Matter of paperwork. Taking care of that?
Good.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. If I can ask everybody to please silence their cell phones. We're going to start the service momentarily.
Mourning is the price we pay for having the courage to love others Even in grief, we know that the wonder of human life is too complex and too magnificent to be memorialized in endless pain. The gifts of spirit that Rebecca Silver gave to us cannot be measured or weighed, nor can they be lost or even tarnished by time. Even in our darkest hours, we know that some of her light and her warmth will always be with us, bringing comfort and courage, and in the fullness of time, healing and peace. Kohelet wrote, "The eye never has its fill of seeing. Young or old, those who depart this life never see enough of the world, never complete their task, never cherish their loved ones enough before they are called home." How Rebecca yearned for yet another respite from the final summons, and how we yearned to have her close to us for yet another challenge in our lives, yet another joy, yet another precious moment together. God, be now with those whose hearts are broken, because whenever parting comes, it comes too soon. Console them at this moment. Be near to them when light seems distant. Sustain them, O God, until the time of healing. We've come here today to honor the memory of Rebecca Silver, and it's a place where none of us want to be, but it's a place where we have to be, because as a community, we're here to support you and carry you through this time of unimaginable loss. And today, we're going to honor Rebecca in the best way that we can by sharing stories about her and memories about her. And as I'm talking now, I see Susie's face just lighting up, and it really speaks so much about the relationship that you have with your daughter, and your daughters have with their sister, and Harry has with his daughter. It's truly remarkable, and the fact that so many people came here today is a testament of our love for you and our connection to you, and of course our love for Rebecca and how she touched so many lives. In Proverbs we read that the human spirit is the light of God. Within each of us, God implants a divine spark. Each of us has the obligation to tend this spark and fan it into a flame that will light up one's own life and the lives of others. A lit candle can be snuffed out, or it can burn out, or it can kindle other candles. When that flame is passed on to others, the flame will continue to burn long after the original candle has been extinguished. Through our prayers and meditations, we remember Rebecca. Through our memories of her, we continue to kindle the flame of her life. From the words of Psalm 16. Shiviti Adonai L'negdi tamid Ki mimini balemot Lachen samach libi V'yagel kivodi Af besari Yishkon lavetach. I have set the eternal always before me. God is at my side. I shall not be moved. Therefore does my heart exult and my soul rejoice. My being is secure. For you will not abandon me to death, nor let your faithful ones see destruction. You show me the path of life. Your presence brings fullness of joy. Enduring happiness is your gift. Psalm 23. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. A sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey. From childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage. A sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey. A sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. We're going to try to capture a very full and vibrant life. 36 years. While that doesn't seem to be a lot or enough, and certainly unfair, we're here to talk about and to celebrate that sacred pilgrimage that Rebecca took. And we'll try to do it in the time that we have. But let this be the... I was not looking at Harry in that. I was more about just thinking in general, but those of us who know Harry, well, there's no cutting you off. And I have no mute button to mute you, Harry. So, but we're going to try to capture that life in our words, and of course, it's impossible for us to do that in just the short period of time that we have. And that this should be the beginning of many times that we gather and tell her story. So I'm going to invite Harry to come up first and share his words, followed by his daughter Amy afterwards.
I don't really intend to follow through with that. But I think virtually everybody here. I know Susie knows everybody here. And in fact, I think many of you know me as Rebecca's dad. Susie is the one who should be really talking, but she said that she was too big of a wreck to probably actually get through it, so I was put in as the designated hitter. A real expert is going to follow me. That is one of her siblings. You already have seen the work of her eldest sibling, who wrote the wonderful, set of words that appeared in the memorial. And Amy is going to, Leah, and Amy is going to talk a little bit more at a real down and dirty level of what being Rebecca's sister was like. So with that, like I say, I'm going to try to be brief, but never believe anyone who says they're going to be brief. I'm going to start out by saying that naturally, this is a day that no parent ever hopes to see. That goes without saying. And also, I guess it would be a truism to say that we just don't come to bury her on this day, but we're coming also to praise her. And I think I was remarking to the rabbi that Robert Browning, the poet, who would go on in many many poems that I never really finished reading, had a nice line that I thought actually did remember that one over a lifetime, that a person's reach should exceed their grasp. And I kept thinking Rebecca didn't have that she had a pretty good grasp. People will attest to the fact she had, once she got her little mittens on you, she basically had a good grasp. But it wasn't a grasp that physically kind of managed to get that far away from, her side. I mean, she didn't have that much ability. But honestly, I think her reach as a person was really pretty deep. And I think that she brought that to, that was something that she brought to the world. And I think that she was a meaningful person to, I think, a lot of people. With that said, I also want to kind of give you an idea. As you know, most of you probably already know this stuff, so I'll try and once again be brief. But I'll say this. She was possibly the most determined little fighter that I have ever come across. She looked like the poor little handicapped girl, but in fact, she was pretty darn tough. And she put up with a lot of, let's put it this way, mildly, inconveniences in her life. And people tried their best. Dr. Sayar here, I can certainly say, certainly tried his best to, in fact, see that she was able to kind of keep on going. And she was somebody who wanted to keep on going. I mean, she was somebody who really, she had a real little fighting spirit there. And there was more to her than, basically, I just want to point out that, throughout her life, she showed lots of qualities that, in fact, I think, I found very impressive. Rebecca was a very effective people manager. I would describe her as a person, as you would talk about at work or something like that, a boss who was firm but fair. A no want from Rebecca, which was articulated, I would say, as clearly and as meaningfully as you would ever get a no want from anybody. It was not an order to be trifled with. But if you did a good job, you were rewarded with a smile that could truly light up your heart. So, like I say, Rebecca was, she was a good person to basically, have working on your team, put it that way. I was also thinking that if anybody ever did a biopic of her life, one possible, title for it might be something along the lines of My Left Arm. You've heard of or seen the movie My Left Foot. And for My Left Arm, there were sort of, this is a good example of why her father is also, what did I just do? Nice. Fortunately, I'm nearsighted, so or maybe not fortunately, I'm nearsighted, so I can read. But basically, there are two sides to the My Left Arm story. On the one hand, Rebecca's left arm, like I say, an effective tool, could be a weapon of really almost mass destruction. When she was younger, I think her sisters can attest to the fact, and her mom, that when people would go out shopping, like the TJ Maxx, Marshall's, places like that, no rack was really, in fact, basically safe from her. She tossed outfits on the floor with all of the abandon that I think any kind of fashionista would have shown when she went on a shopping trip. Amy reminded me, and Aaliyah confirmed as well, that Rebecca also could do the same thing with tablecloths at restaurants. That I know that at Temple for a number of years, people used to put a premium on little magic displays and stuff like that. And in fact, Rebecca would have been in there trying her best to see whether or not she could keep the stuff on the table after the tablecloth had been removed. This was something that we experienced often at restaurants. On the other hand, that left arm was also kind of it was a tool that worked in the service of art. Rebecca used her other little mitten, same little mitt, to basically, she had, as a kid, a Casio children's keyboard. And Rebecca liked music. And in fact, with remarkable dexterity, sort of surprised me, she would grab for that piano or keyboard, bring it up, and play it rather with some degree of dexterity with her nose. And there were quite a few tunes that I think were her favorites, and she certainly made that known to her sisters during the many hours that they spent together in the den. I'd also say, I mean, considering Rebecca's life, sort of in a general context of history, Rebecca was kind of almost a consummate millennial. That was her generation, just like her two sisters. Under her guidance in the 1990s, under their guidance, actually, that's what I mean. Under their guidance in the 1990s, Rebecca got a really rich diet of staples such as MTV, The Real World, Bravo, the Discovery Channel, and there was a dash of PBS Kids as well. Rebecca knew what time it was in terms of what was going on in the 90s. Particularly, I think, impressive. And I don't think they will ever have bigger fans anywhere in the world, this world or any other. Rebecca was way devoted to the Backstreet Boys. And she, in fact, remained a follower right to the end, so to speak. I was going to say that for that, I would almost criticize her sisters because, I mean, who wants their kids watching MTV? Who wants their kids watching The Real World and stuff like that? Except when I retired, I can't say that I did any better for it because frequently Rebecca and I watched Word Girl on PBS, the game show network, and in fact, Rebecca converted me into a wheel watcher. So those were, in fact, as she got a little older, those were some of her favorite things. Rebecca, I mean, wasn't somebody who, basically, I think, was, going to, she could use her left hand a lot, but probably not like to write that much and, get across, thoughts that way. But she was pretty well educated. She was a proud member of the class of 2009 at Shaker High School. And joining her two sisters before her. In addition to her studies, Rebecca also, it was my understanding, developed a special connection to one of her classmates, whose father is here and with us. And I think there's a picture of Rebecca and Patrick on the web site that shows that I think that there was. Let us put it this way: I think they were tight in the high school. So she had a little guy in high school. Post high school, Rebecca was fortunate enough to have found a place as a participant in the many excellent programs in United Cerebral Palsy (UCP), which is near a university circle. I'm sure. Fortunately, I never went down that much. Susie was there quite a bit, and so if there are people here, mad props to anybody who was affiliated with that for Rebecca's post-high school career. She there picked up a number of vocational strengths, although they varied a bit. she was not necessarily good at everything that she tried. But she was a skilled participant in, I would say, the arts and crafts line. In fact, I was impressed, a devoted follower of Tai Chi. And in fact, she, I think, took a great deal of pleasure in those classes. I would also be remiss if I did not say, and this was part of her, I'm sure, school self as well, Rebecca possibly had the most infectious laugh of anybody I have ever seen. The Grinch would not have been able to resist laughing once Rebecca started giggling uncontrollably. And I would say that laugh in and of itself was a true gift, a true gift that existed in the world. Hopefully it'll exist on afterwards. Finally, let me point out that Rebecca was, as time passed, lucky enough to become a devoted aunt. And two of her nieces are here today, and hope that they will remember her for many years to come. Another niece is in San Francisco, and we hope that even another niece may be here. Although we are, we're awaiting that with eagerly as well. So let me close. Honestly, I am going to close, really. Let me just close by saying that recently I had the opportunity to take a course on cosmology and religion, taught by somebody who was sitting here in this very room, Peter Haas. And I wanted to say that I never really understood the skies, or even, I never understood what to look for in the skies, And I know a little bit more about them, although certainly not at any level of expertise, that's for sure. But I learned to think about, sort of the combination of the vast voids that, you see when you look up at night. And also the things that are kind of bright and, that kind of, stars and planets and, all of the other stuff that, got a variety of different names, I guess, over time, depending on who was looking at them. And I think I'll never look at them in the same way quite again. I think as, life goes on, hopefully, look up in the sky and, at night particularly, you'll see vast voids and things that are brilliantly, bright. And I think, for me, and I know for Susie and for others, there's going to be a way to relate to those vast voids. But there's also going to be a way to relate to those really bright lights. And I think Rebecca, for us, certainly was, going to be a really bright light that hopefully, in at least our family's memory will persist forever. I'm done. Now for somebody who really
Hi, everybody. I'm Amy. I'm Rebecca's middle sister. Thank you all for being here today. When I began putting my thoughts down on paper, I realized that I wasn't ready to write about Rebecca yet, or in the past tense. So I wrote this letter to her instead. Talk to her. Becca, my sassy little sister, you were dealt a tricky hand of cards. Some might argue a losing hand, but that's simply because they don't really know you, or perhaps it's because they don't understand what it means to win. As your sister, I had the privilege of knowing and loving you well before I could understand the concept of brain damage or disabilities. I have and will always love you for exactly who you are. Our shared language developed and changed over time. There was a solid 5 years during which you insisted that I rub the tip of your nose whenever we were in the same room. I was happy to do so because otherwise you would scream. It's true. She screams so loud. I will always remember the feeling of rubbing the tip of your nose. It lives in my hand and my heart. I love your voice and all of your fabulous words. Everybody does. Even the nurses in the hospital this summer and fall delighted in your conversations with them. There is nothing more satisfying than receiving a random, honey. I also got Amy. You keep people on their toes and leave them wanting more. And you express yourself so clearly. I've always admired that about you. Sometimes it's hard for me to say what I really feel, but you are never afraid to speak your mind. I know Mom and Dad would have been good parents no matter what, but I think you expanded their hearts and minds in ways that deeply impacted Leah and me and so many others as a result. You're this unassuming Sherpa for all of us, trudging up the mountain while quietly unearthing profundities along the way. Your astounding resolve to fight for life, no matter the odds, has made all of us more resilient, level-headed in our own truly neurotic way. I don't know if anyone would think of us as level-headed, but I do think in a weird way. And patient. Because you are so easy to love, in spite of what others see as your differences, you have helped us open our hearts and minds to friends, acquaintances, and strangers alike. You fostered our interest in people and expanded our understanding of what it means to be human. I'm sure you're rolling your eyes right now and maybe even telling me off, but I mean it, and I'm very grateful. I'm forever grateful. We all are. Dad and Mom, whose love for you knows no bounds. Our kooky older sister, Ia, who we have always looked up to. Your vibrant nieces, Georgiana, Louisa, and Runa, in whom you've shown so much genuine interest. Her little maternal side came out with her nieces. Brothers-in-law, Jason and Josh. Your dear friend, Sanny, who's here, of course. The list goes on and on. You didn't live a single day of your life here on earth without feeling an immense amount of love and care. I'm so grateful that Mom was with you every single day for the past 7 months, holding your hand and fighting alongside you, and that Dad's unwavering support allowed you both to focus on the task at hand. But this, of course, is no surprise. That's just the kind of Mom and Dad they've always been. I'm pregnant with a little sister now. She's wiggling around in this very moment as I write. I saw her heart beating on an ultrasound this week and wept, wishing that yours was still thumping away. But I know you live on, within, beside, and through each of us. It would be impossible to know how many lives you've touched along the way. I picture the ripples of impact emanating from your being like little fireflies, perching on friends and acquaintances' shoulders and flickering their soft, warm glow. A gentle reminder to be a little more open and patient, to withhold judgment and practice kindness. Becca, my most interesting and special friend, my baby sister, your being and memory is a blessing, a bright spot, a gift to the world. I love you with all my heart. We all do. Thank you.
In our Jewish tradition, we say that the number 18 represents chai, life. And so when someone reaches 36 years, that's double chai. Not just a number, but a symbol of a life lived with strength, fullness, and spirit, Today, as we remember Rebecca, it feels deeply fitting. Because Rebecca didn't just live 36 years. She lived every one of them with a force and presence that was unmistakably her own. And in a very real way, she lived life twice over, if that, probably more. Anyone who only saw her disability would have missed everything that made Rebecca who she truly was. She was not defined by her body, of what her body couldn't do, but by the spark that radiated from what she could do. Communicate, connect, love, express joy, assert her opinions, and make sure the people around her knew exactly what she thought, often with nothing more than a well-timed expression, facial expression, or a word. One of the things that struck me during my time with her mother yesterday and with her father, but especially with Susie, is that you absolutely lit up when you talked about Rebecca. As you described your daughter, you came to life, your pride, her humor, all of the joy rising to that surface. And Rebecca brought that out in people. She pulled others in, not with many words, but with the full force of her personality. And make no mistake, Rebecca had a big personality. As we are hearing, she was expressive, she was responsive, she was social, she wanted to be a communicator and saw herself as one. And she absolutely was. As her nurses learned quickly that Rebecca had opinions, and she did not hesitate to roll her eyes when they needed it. She was sassy, she was funny, she loved funny noises, as you said, Harry, and would absolutely crack up at the sound of a pan falling. She was crabby, like her father. Those who were blessed to spend time with her quickly learned that Rebecca was a full, complete, extraordinary human being. Not someone to be pitied, someone to be known. She loved being around people and giving her 2 cents in the way that she knew how. With her nieces, she was wonderfully maternal, patient, warm, and always smiling at them. She loved taking selfies with her sister Leah, making facial expressions that showed off her mischief and delight. When her sister Amy went off to college in Philadelphia, for years thereafter, Rebecca would say Philadelphia ouf-wah-wah when thinking about her. And she shared a deep, lifelong bond with her mom, Susie. The kind of bond where you can drive each other crazy and love each other even more fiercely than words can say. As Harry shared with us, she loved music. She loved the Backstreet Boys. One of the things that brought me joy, personally, is that I found out that she watched Friday night services on our stream all the time, and that she sang along with me. And just knowing that makes it all worthwhile. And when she did come to Temple, I did hear her singing, and I loved it. I'm just kind of moving around because a lot of what was said was already said, but I think that what is most important is that she lived a life of her own. She had her routine, she had her friends, she had her boyfriend Patrick, who liked bad girls. She endured an incredibly tough medical road. Surgeries, procedures, and repeated challenges that no one should ever have to face. And yet she showed a strength and determination that was unmistakable. Susie, as you said, and as we keep hearing, she wanted to be here. She wanted to live. She fought to live. She was mighty and determined. I loved the quote from the obituary that was written by Leah that people often thought of Rebecca as a teacher. And I think of that in the way that she didn't set out to teach, but rather just by the way that she lived her life made others reflect on how they lived theirs. As I hear her story and the type of person she is, I myself am inspired to find more joy in every day and to fight the fights that I need to fight with strength and determination. Rebecca had 36 years that were deeply, fully hers. Years filled with love, relationships, laughter, expression, music, and presence. Years that mattered. Years that changed the people around her. She was a blessed daughter of her parents, Harry and Suzanne, a loving sister to Leah and Josh and Amy and Jason, a proud aunt to her nieces Georgiana, Louisa, and Runa, and a very special friend of Sandra Graham and her many other friends and admirers that she had along the way. She was a gift, a beautiful, complicated, joyful, spirited gift, and nothing about her was small. May her memory be a blessing. May her spirit continue to teach us to see the fullness in every human being. May the love she gave and the love she inspired remain with her family forever. And may her 36 years, her double chai, remind us that the true measure of a life is not how long it was, but how fully it was lived. Rebecca lived all of hers, at least twice over. Now let us speak to Rebecca in our own words and thoughts of how she touched our lives, and so we pray silently. For Rebecca Silver's love that united us in life, which death cannot sever. For her companionship that we shared along life's path, which continues in the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. I now invite us all to rise as I recite Al Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hamitzei menucha nechona tachat kanfei hashechina im kedoshim utehorim kezohar harakia mazirim Et nishmat Rivka bat Shoshana v'Tzvi shehalacha le'olama Bal harachamim Yesterday habeseter kenafav le'olamim Bitzror achayim et nishmata Adonai hu nachalata v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava, v'nomar Amen. God of abundant mercy, God most high, may the soul of our loved one, Rebecca Silver, who has gone into eternity, find the gift of perfect peace in your embrace with the holy and pure, whose light shines like the radiance of heaven. Compassionate God, hold her close to you forever, so that her soul may be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May she find a home with you, and may she rest in peace. And together we say, Amen. I invite everyone to be seated. In a moment, the pallbearers will be called up, and we will lay Rebecca to rest at the Mayfield Road Cemetery if you are following with us.